But this, everybody's stumped today. Everybody's stymied. Everybody's curious, can't figure it out. All of a sudden, Donald Trump says he doesn't want to criticize Cruz anymore. All of a sudden, Donald Trump says, yeah, you know what I like, Ted? I might even have him as my vice president if I get the nomination. But wait a minute. Everybody say, you're thinking of suing him because he's from Canada. What the hell's going on? They can't figure out what happened. So they're assigning it, well, you know, maybe Trump's insane. And then they say, no, he's not insane. So what's going on here? Well, maybe he's just trying to keep everybody on their toes and off guard and not knowing what's coming next. No, that may be, but that's not what's going on here. Well, but then why? You know, he abandons Dr. Carson. Dr. Carson was his big friend, and then all of a sudden, he doesn't care about Dr. Carson. He likes Ted Cruz. All of a sudden, he's not gonna complain about what's going on, and they're all struggling to try to figure this out. And the answer can be found by going back to yesterday's program here on the EIB network. This is why. Now, I understand that the polling is hit or miss, and that 13 of them were wrong. I understand 13 polls had Trump winning. And I've got nothing against Dr. Carson. I think Dr. Carson's one of the finest men alive today walking this planet. This whole episode, nevertheless, boggles my mind. This whole thing, manufactured as it is, just boggles my mind. We're on the verge here, we conservatives, of wresting control of the Republican Party from the establishment and get sidetracked with this stuff. It isn't helpful. I wish it would stop, but I'm not running all these campaigns. And I said even more than that. I got specific. I said this notion that you can't take a tweet that's found on CNN and spread the news around it without creating some kind of controversy is silly. It's a waste of time. It's a distraction. And I a couple of times yesterday, I just said, stop it. Stop this stuff. There's way too much going on to get distracted by this. We're too much time is spent. You know, it's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to have policy differences with them, but there's no reason to start excommunicating people, either from the party or from the movement, people who you know are conservative but may be wrong on an issue here or issue there. Fine, disagree with them all you want. Defeat them all you want. But this excommunication stuff and banishing them, I had enough of it yesterday. It's destructive. I mean, this election is too important. I'm rehashing much of what I said yesterday, adding a couple things to it. But really, there's just too much at stake here. And so I'd had it. And I've been telling people in my circle of friends that this stuff's starting to get embarrassing to me. There was no election stolen in Iowa and all of this about, you know, I did hear from a guy named Bill Saraceno. Bill Saraceno goes way back to my days in Sacramento. Bill Saraceno lost his hearing, and he was one of the first people I talked to about what life was going to be like with a cochlear implant way back in 2000, whenever that was. And he was extremely helpful. He had gone to the house clinic just as I had. And he helped me to prepare for what hearing and life and getting along was going to be like a cochlear implant before I had mine surgically implanted. And then after that, I lost track of him. I got an email from him yesterday, first time in 12 years, and he is in, or was in, I guess he's still in California. He's working on the Carson campaign, and he was telling me there are people who had their votes shafted away from him, Rush. I heard you on the radio today saying that not one person's popped up to say that they were going to vote for Carson and didn't because of what Ted Cruz's campaign was doing. Well, Rush, I got a couple of them here, and you need to know this. So he was telling me that a couple of people had stood up. But I still haven't heard it or seen it, and it wasn't going to add up to 25,000 votes, which is what Carson needed to tie Rubio for third place. That wasn't going to happen. And furthermore, Carson outperformed what he was supposed to get if you believe in polling data. So the whole thing to me just seemed unnecessary. And I had the usual, oh, you're just in the tank for Cruz. I'm not in the tank for anybody here. It's not my job to win a campaign for it. It's not my job to take people out of it either. It's not my job to make them win it or help them. It's not my job to see to it that they lose it. That's up to them. And that's always been my philosophy. But when I see really unfortunate time-wasting things like this guy, it just feeds right into them. I mean, the drive-bys here, we're on the verge, like I said there, we're on the verge of wresting control of the party from the establishment, which is what has to happen for us conservatives. And now here we're in the process of trying to destroy 2 or 3 of them. Circular firing squad. So anyway, that's what I said yesterday. Last night, CNN, Anderson Cooper 360, interviewing Donald Trump. Cooper said, you came in second in Iowa to Ted Cruz. Let's talk about Cruz. You basically accused him of fraud, stealing the election in Iowa. You talked about wanting a new election there. Have you actually spoken to Republican Party officials about that?
No, look, I'm into New Hampshire now. It's just one of those things. It was sort of a lot of strange things. And, I like Ben Carson very much. And he got pretty roughed up, frankly, although it affected me maybe more than Ben. But I'm so much, because I've been now here for 2 days, I'm so much into New Hampshire, that I don't care about that.
Well, that's what happened. He doesn't care about it. He was moving on. Said what he had to say about it, got his message out, thinks Cruz is from Canada and is a fraud, and is now moving on. It's dropping it. But the media is not happy. That's why, folks. Are you saying that you have... Well, who else did? Nobody can figure it out. I'm giving you a possibility, certainly. So then Anderson Cooper, who the media is the last group of people who want to see this happen. The media want to see Trump loaded for bear. The media deathly afraid of Cruz. And they're afraid of Trump. And they're going to end up being afraid of Rubio at some point. They want Cruz taken out. They're frustrated. The media is frustrated. They haven't been able to take out Republican frontrunners yet. And the Republican frontrunners in waiting are at the bottom of the pile. The media candidates of ours they prefer can't get any traction. They're frustrated. So here comes Trump aiming at Cruz. They loved it. Anderson Cooper says, oh, no. But wait, Donald, you think Ted Cruz intentionally was spreading false information, right? How can you do this?
I don't care. I mean, I don't want to even say, let's see what happens. I guess people are looking at it. Who cares? We're into here. I picked up a lot of delegates. I was second. I picked up one less than he did. So that's not going to be even a factor. But this is the place that I'm focused.
Right. He's focused on New Hampshire now. So everybody is running around. What happened? Why did there's a possibility for you? By the way, Cruz, this guy is so sharp. He is so quick. Did you hear a reporter tried to, and they ought to give up trying. No reporter on earth is going to be able to outwit in a match of wits Ted Cruz. They're not going to be able to sabotage the guy. A reporter kept hounding him about this dirty trick. Reporters said, but it's a dirty trick. It's a dirty trick to confuse voters. Don't you think it's a dirty trick to confuse voters? And Cruz said, no. We're not going to scapegoat anybody. This reporter wanted to know, you're going to fire anybody. No, we're not going to escape anybody. I would note that the news story that our team passed on was true and accurate. CNN reported it. Yeah, but it reports a dirty trick, right? Don't you think it's a dirty trick? I mean, how can you do that? That's a horrible thing to do. Cruz, is it a dirty trick to pass on your news stories? You're in the journalism business. Would you think it was a dirty trick if I was forwarding an ABC story? It's where this reporter worked. Or is it only a dirty trick when I pass on CNN stories? And the reporter goes, because Cruz said, hey, I didn't do a damn thing. Carson's people called CNN. CNN put something up. We saw it. We used it. If there's a dirty trick, it's you people in the media putting it up in the first place. So Cruz is saying to this ABC reporter, oh, really? It's a dirty trick to pass on your news stories? You're in the business. Would you think it was a dirty trick if I was forwarding an ABC story? Or is it just a dirty trick to pass on CNN stories. Brief timeout. We come back, the Democrat debate, and as I said, studied it, and it was painful. Folks, I'm not kidding.